Hey everyone, it's Gamefruitpulp, and welcome back to another episode of Building Toronto's Extras, the series where we go a little bit into a deep dive of the Building Toronto map and talk about some of the uh, goals and overarching sort of themes of the project that I may not get into in the regular series of Building Toronto. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about why we build interiors on this map. It's an interesting sort of let me fix this here. I don't know why that's on. It's an interesting sort of topic to talk about because a lot of maps on this scale do not sort of spend the time doing the interiors, but it's something that we sort of decided when we started building the project that it was something we wanted to focus on. And I'm going to be explaining our thought process behind that a little bit today. Because even when we have people check out the project, quite a few people say, why waste your time with the interiors? The main purpose of the project is looking at the exterior build and growing the map and that kind of thing. And so this is really not going to be a super long video. It's just going to be me sort of going over the reason why we do the interiors and also provide you guys with a little sneak peek, if for those of you who stick around to the end of the episode, of what's coming up in our main series, Building Toronto videos to come. So we're going to be looking at this part of the map today, the financial district, the east end of the financial district, near the border to the St. Lawrence market. The reason we're going to be looking at this part today is because we have a good mixture of builds, but we do have builds with quite a bit of windows. And that's the big reason that we wanted to do interiors on this project, is because when you're looking at a build like the King, is it King Edward? I want to say it's King Edward. The King Edward Hotel, not doing an interior on a project like this wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because there's so much block coverage on the build itself. There's windows, but the windows don't really show too much. And ultimately, because of that, we would be able to sort of hide the fact that we didn't do an interior here just by placing some torches on the inside. So a build like this is not where we sort of came to the conclusion that we really need to do the interiors. It's more when we get to builds like this, builds that are mostly glass. And if these were just vacant shells, when you would venture around the map, especially in the nighttime, it would really be noticeable. It would be something that would take away from the authenticity of the city and also something that would just take away from the livelihood of the city as well. One of the main things we really want on this project is for the city to feel alive, especially when you explore it. Obviously, right now the streets are pretty empty in Toronto. There aren't any cars, aren't any pedestrians, nothing like that. And so one of the things that we really rely on to give the city a lot of life and a lot of for lack of a better word, realism is our interiors. Because when you're walking down, for example, when you're approaching, I believe this is Yonge, over here, yes it is. When you're approaching Yonge and you're walking up, we want it to look something similar to what you would see when you're actually walking down Yonge Street in Toronto of real life. And one of the ways you have to do that is by having these really good interiors that sort of bring the project to life. And the little storefronts where you can look in and see what the stores are selling, or it would be a Shoppers Drug Mart, which was up there, or a travel agency that sort of you come in and you book your tours. And these kind of things are important for this project because it's what really separates us from projects that are more focused on just trying to finish the project and just rushing to complete it. Because the sort of issue with that is that if you're always worrying about the future and worrying about the ending, then you never really focus on what's in the middle. And it doesn't really make sense to me to have that sort of mentality on a project like this, because when you're talking about progressing and moving forward, and that's something that's great, and I want to get this project growing as much as I can, as quickly as I can as well. But that doesn't mean that I want to lose sight of the goal, and the goal is to capture a project that brings the livelihood of the city of Toronto, one of the most vibrant cities in the world, to life in a game that's really different than real life, right? The game content of Minecraft is not the real life caliber content. It's a very different style of graphics. It's a very different aura of gameplay, and it's not like we're playing something with super realistic graphics like Grand Theft Auto or something like that, where if we were to recreate a city like Grand Theft Auto 5 did, it's almost a carbon copy because of the graphic capabilities. Here we're sort of forced to take with what we're given and sort of try and make these buildings look as accurate as we can with blocks that may not be as accurate as we would like, but it sort of forces us to become creative with certain things. And one of the ways we need to sort of capture that creativity is with the interiors. And I think that's the main thing I wanted to get across in this video in trying to explain why we do interiors, because it is a question I get quite frequently. And the basic reason on why we do them is simply because it helps bring the project to life. And I touched on it a bit earlier, but it's a point I really want to make sure is clear, is that we really want to focus on trying to not really rush the project. And if you always are focused on the ending, you never really enjoy the story. And it's kind of like when you read a book, you don't read the last page first just because you want to finish the book. Or if you're watching a movie series or watching a TV series, you really want to get to the end to find out what happened, but you don't watch the last episode first. You watch the whole series through, and you enjoy the whole series, and you enjoy the progression of the series. And that's something that we really wanted or I really wanted to touch on today, on why we take our time and why we do these interiors and why we progress a lot slower than some maps doing similar types of builds. And that's the main reason, is because if we're focused on just progressing, and we don't focus on the content and enjoying what we're doing as we do it, then what's really the point of this whole project? And that's, I think, the love we have for the city and the love we have for this project, to get it to this caliber, rather than just to get builds built and move on to the next one, is, I think, something that shows really clearly when you look at things like our sidewalk detail and our interior detail and things like that. And specifically, I don't think there's a better example of this, and I always go back to this build because it was one of the first ones on the project, but it's one that sort of lasted the years of the project as one of my opinion, one of my favorites, and it's the Hotel Victoria. This is sort of irrelevant build that if we were just building shells, nobody would have cared about at all, really. It's just a sort of shorter brick tower tucked into other towers that are taller than it on a block with some really important buildings like the Burfield Place right to the south of it, and some other more historic things to the north as well. But when you ironed down the details of this building and you really looked into it, you found out that this was a really historic hotel, one that's been here for over 100 years, and one that had interior plans from the original building. And this is something that matters because it's something that, had we not looked into it, we never would have found out about. And it's something really that I found when I started the project really helped me continue this over time and not get burnt out, is because all these little buildings in the city that seem irrelevant, things like this building here, the Hotel Victoria, or other things that you would think have no importance in the city, when you dig into them and you learn about them, each one has its own unique story. And that's what I really think helps bring this project to life, is that I try and sort of bring those stories and explain them to you guys. And one of the ways we do that is with our interiors. And just to sort of iron out this episode, I'm going to try and look to the left as much as I can because I don't want to expose too much of the next Building Toronto video. But as we fly up to this building over here, it's named the Adelaide, or actually, no, we'll do this one here. As we're flying down the street, and you can just see the clear differences, right? Like, you look at this shell of a building. Like, if we were only doing exteriors, this building would be completed. And ultimately, you can see the difference that leads. When you look at something like this, which is in a really not a super relevant building to the city, obviously it has its stories like every building does, but you look at the difference from the exterior of this building here versus this building over here, it really shows the difference that putting in that extra time and doing the interiors has on this project. And so I hope that makes sense for you guys. I hope that it helps sort of shine a light a little bit about my thought process on the project, and helps you guys understand a little bit more about how we think while we build. There's no shaders on this video, as you guys obviously saw. I'm just trying to reduce the build. The map is getting quite large, and with that comes the trouble of computers not being able to handle the actual map and its details. And my computer is obviously struggling right now. My computer is 8 years old, so it's doing the best it can. At the time, it was a good computer, but now obviously there's tons of hardware that's better than what I have in my computer. But it's doing the best it can with what it's given. But that is everything. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope that this helps you get a better understanding of a little bit behind our thought process. There's some really cool episodes coming out late in the next couple weeks with Building Toronto. We're getting a ton of work done. We've got some new builders on the project that are really doing a good job so far on the builds they've done, and I'm really excited to share those with you guys. But that is pretty much everything. I believe that there will be a Building Toronto video coming out on Friday, so stay tuned for that. Aside from that, if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Every single time I mess that up. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can catch videos like this in the future. And if you're a returning viewer and you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and share the channel with some of your friends so that we can keep growing this great community that is really, it's grown in quite a large amount in the past few months, and it's really been a really encouraging factor for me to keep building this project and really focus on expanding the team and making sure that this team is able to produce things that that are suitable for the great audience that this project has. But that is everything. Like I said, thank you guys very much for watching. This has been a Minecraft Building Toronto's Extras video. My name is Gamefruitpulp, and I will catch you guys all next time. Have a good one.